Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Yes. It's the last show in Jamaica, people. I return back to the UK tomorrow. I said, I told myself I wasn't even going to do this live. I said, let me go to my bed, get up early, watch the Reggae Girls versus Brazil, and chill off, you know? And then I'm sitting there, and I thought, you know what? Last show, Jamaica time. Let me do this one for the Caribbean. Let me do this one for the people of the Caribbean. Let me do this one for the West Indies fans that are in the right time zone. Bunna UK fan base. Let me do this for the American time zone and the Caribbean time zone. And then from Thursday, it's back to UK. It's back to the UK time zone and doing it when some of you are still at work and so on and so forth. My name is Machel St. Patrick here on half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Welcome back to another edition of another episode. Santoki cannot do this episode because he is in his bed and fast asleep. Today, India clapped us down. I didn't even look to see what the final score was. True say it's Emancipation Day. When I think who was batting? Yannick Carrier. Actually, today I realized you don't say it as Carrier. What was Badri saying today? Carrier. Yannick Carrier. So I left the house when Yannick Carrier and maybe Athanase was batting. I can't even remember. I went to do some went to drink my Manish water and do some Emancipation Day celebration and so on and so forth. So, you know, I had to go do my thing still. And anyway, so where I went, there was a TV, so I was keeping up with what was going on. So the final score, let me just find it. I think India definitely won by 200 runs. So for those who don't know, India made 351 for 5 from their allotted 50 overs. We put them into bat, and West Indies made... West Indies were bowled out for 151 in 35 overs. So India won the final ODI by 200 runs. They win the series 2-1. But you know what? Before I start, before I try and break it all down, let me just put this kind of conundrum to you all. If before the India tour had started, you were told, right, West Indies will lose one of the 2 test matches and draw the other. They'll win one of the ODIs and lose the other 2. So at this point now, after 5 matches of the India tour, we've only lost 3 of the 5, drawn 1, won 1. Now, I know it's nothing to boast about, and I'm not trying to boast about it. But what I am trying to say is, if you were offered that before the India series started, I think every single sane and rational West Indian fan would say, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take a 1-0 defeat to India in the tests. I'll take a 2-1 defeat to India in the ODI series because it's better than surely that's better than what the average person expected. That's certainly better than what an Indian fan that's worse than what an Indian fan would have expected, and it's got to be better than what a West Indian fan would have realistically expected. And in the context of ODI cricket, coming out of World Cup qualifiers where we lost to Zimbabwe, lost to the Netherlands, lost to Scotland, lost to Sri Lanka, I think if you had said, yeah, we'll beat India and beat them comfortably in one of the 2 games, yeah, I think you'd take that. And I'm not here to listen to people say that was an Indian B team, because it wasn't. Okay, yeah, Rohit and Virat didn't play. That's 2 players. If we're going to play that game, then we can say, well, you know what? Puran and Holder didn't play. At the end of the day, a weakened India side without Virat and Rohit Sharma is still significantly better than the strongest West Indian side. And I'm not here to hear any counter argument to that. That is plain and simple fact. Because we are so inconsistent, look what happened to us in the World Cup qualifiers. You cannot say that the strongest West Indian side is better than a weakened India side. No, India can field an entire quote unquote B team against us, and I'd still expect them to win. So I'm not here for but Virat and Rohit weren't playing. Beat what's in front of you, and we beat them once. So I think you have to take that. But that said, I'm not too inner looking at the specifics of the defeat today. Some people will say, "Oh, well, Shea Hope should never have sent India into bat. We handed them the initiative." Yeah, to an extent. But do you lot realistically believe that West Indies would have put up 351 if we had batted first? No, no chance. Right? We got to be people. We got to be realistic. Got to be realistic out here. If you think this defeat was about something as simple as Hope put India in first and handed them the initiative, no, it's much bigger than that. Because at the end of the day, some people try and be like, oh, but of course West Indies collapsed because they were chasing a big total. No, we wouldn't have got close to 3-5-1 even if those guys had played quote unquote sensibly. We still would have lost by a massive margin. So again, I think this for me is about being realistic. Once they'd scored 3-5-1, game was over. If you go and look back at the tweets on the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Carib Cricket handle, I said at the interval after India posted 3-5-1 for 5, I said West Indies have a 1% chance of winning this game. A couple people messaged me and were like, oh, you're being so defeatist. You're only giving West Indies a 1% chance. And I was like, come on, be realistic. If you study West Indies cricket properly, you know that the game was over at that stage. No matter what West Indies did, that game was already over. Okay, so I think we've got to put everything in that context first and foremost. In terms of individual performances from the humbling today, I want to talk about the series as a whole, but in terms of individual performances today, certainly with the ball, obviously massive flowers have got to go to Gudakesh Motie. I think Motie has gone a long way in this series, if he hadn't already done so in previous series, to making the spin spot his. Yes, Akil Hussain was the previous incumbent, but I think Akil's going to have to produce a brilliant run of form now to justify getting back into the team. Motie, if he stays fit, is now the go-to spinner. And I think, to be fair, and I really like Akil Hussain as an option, but I think Motie is a better attacking option. On a day where India made 3-5-1, Motie went 10 overs, 1 maiden, the only guy to bowl a maiden in the West Indies bowling attack. 10 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 38. So Motie was good. Everybody else, I mean, they took licks. Jaden Seals 8 overs, none for 75, economy of 9.3. Carl Mayers bowled 4 straight away up front, 4 overs, none for 25, economy of 6.25. Alzari 10 overs, 10 overs, 1 for 71. Romario Shepherd 10 overs, 2 for 73. Yannick, what did he say again? What did Badger say? Yannick, I can't remember how to pronounce it again today. I'll say Karai, but it's not Karai. Yannick Karai, 8 overs, 1 for 58, 7.25. So, I mean, in some ways, you'd say there's a level of consistency from Joseph Shepherd and Karai in so much as they went for 7 and over, but nobody really supported what Motie was doing. Okay, Motie was like levels above everybody else in our attack and was the go-to option. Couple of things that I was worried about. Not worried about, so that's the wrong phrase to use. So a couple of things I query. Why did Yannick only bowl 8 overs? I know, okay, people go mash. He took 1 for 58, went at 7.25. But I don't know. Jaden Seals pretty much got taken down for licks from all the way through his spells, right? First spell, second spell, third spell. And I just wonder if there was an option to bowl Yannick Karai out. Yes, he may have got taken downtown for a couple of 6s, 4s, whatever, but I don't know. I just look at it's a nitpick, but just looking at the bowling attack, was there an option to bowl Yannick Karai out, bowl all of his 10 overs out today? But anyways, 3-5-1, it was what it was. Game was over at the halfway stage. Obviously, now when West Indies came to bat, it was a shambles. Brandon King went in the first over. Carl Mayers went in the third over. Hope went in the 7th over. Carty went in the 11th over. Hetmeyer went in the 12th over. And then Shepherd went in the 14th over. So within 14 overs of the game, we were 50 for 6. And the thing is, no one can say to me, yes, Gio, I'm coming to. I'm just doing the intro still. No one can say to me that it was the pitch or it was the Indian bowling. Okay, yeah, Mukesh put it in the corridor of uncertainty at times, but it wasn't threatening. The Indians weren't bowling anything super threatening. If you go through each of the dismissals, Mayers was like caught on his stumps, didn't move his feet, chopped on. I can't remember Brandon King's now. Did he nick off? I think Brandon King nicked off. Hope nicked off, chasing one on like a 5th stump line. Carty, that was a good catch from Shubman Gill, to be fair. But again, nicked off, chasing one on a 5th stump line. Hetmeyer, absolute nothing shot. Just basically poked, middled it, yeah, but just basically guided it to cover. Like it was almost like a lofted drive to cover. Nothing shot. Shepherd went for a 6 after he'd only been there for how many balls? Shepherd had only been there for 7 balls. Goes for a big 6 caught on the boundary. So in that 50 for 6, pretty much every dismissal was 5 of those 6 dismissals were poor shot execution for me. In fact, not even Hetmeyer's. Hetmeyer's was poor shot execution. Every single dismissal, there was more onus on the batter to blame than it was about brilliant bowling by Mukesh. Who else took the wickets? Mukesh and Unad Kat took one, and I think maybe Shardul. Yeah, Shardul got Hetmeyer and Romario. So I don't buy the Indians bowled particularly well. I think it was just, quote, it was dunce batting. It was dunce batting, chasing the big total, and we lost our heads. And again, like I say, before the series started, I think a rational West Indian fan takes a 2-1 defeat and says, you know what, it is what it is. But the nature of the 2 defeats was so one-sided that I can understand if a West Indian fan left this series somehow thinking it was a worse 2-1 defeat than it actually was, if you kind of catch my drift, because just the nature of those defeats were pretty galling, so to speak. Medvis says there's 102 of you in the chat, less than 20 likes. Hit the like button, yeah, for sure. Neek says it was Dunce and Bolsey batting. It was totally Dunce and Bolsey. It was but we've seen it before. Anyways, at 50 for 6, Athanase and Yannick put on a bit of a partnership. Then Alec went for 32. I think it was 32. Yeah. Then Yannick followed pretty shortly afterwards. And then at 88 for 8, all of a sudden, Gudakesh Moti and Alzari Joseph showed the top order how to bat. Alzari put on 26 from 39 balls, finally proving once again that he does actually know how to bat. Gudakesh looked the most composed batter in the West Indies lineup and put on 39 from 34. Red Inca not out. And then Jaden Seals last to go for 1. Well done to Gudakesh Moti. Special flowers for him. A great all-round performance. 10 overs, 1 for 38, and 39 not out to be the best batter in the West Indies lineup. So a horrific defeat. A terrible defeat. Another embarrassing defeat to add to the litany of embarrassing West Indian defeats. But if we now move to looking at the wider context, were there some positives to take out of this series? So, because it's always about, for me, now that we're not going to the World Cup, and now that the next thing that we go to will be the World Cup in 2027, because it's a bigger tournament, so we shouldn't have to worry about qualifying. Every series for me now is about reflecting on the series as a whole and trying to identify where were the green shoots of hope, and where were the signs or negatives where we have to question if it's not deep enough to question if we take the player along for the ride, but question if there are certain things that Sammy needs to focus on. So it's not a player rating per se, but I'm just going to make my way through. So starting at the top, Shai Hope. I'm going to go down through the batting averages. So Shai Hope was the best batter in the series. Shai Hope scored the most runs, obviously, for the West Indies in the series. 111 runs at an average of 56. highest score of 63 not out. He was the only West Indian batter to score a 50 in the series. I mean, do I need to say anything? Hope always comes through. I know today he failed, but generally speaking, like Craig Brathwaite in Test cricket, Shai Hope is his equivalent in ODI cricket in so much as they understand. Craig does it in Tests, and Shai understands in ODIs how to actually play an ODI innings in the context of playing for a poor side or a side who are so desperately inconsistent with the bat. So Hope, once again, in the context of the series, did what he did. Remember, we only made 114 in the first ODI, and Hope top scored with 43 or 44. He then made 63 not out in our sole win, and obviously he failed today. So Hope did what he did, or did what he does, I should say. Next highest scorer was Alec Athanaze. So Alec Athanaze scored 60 in his 3 innings for an average of 20 and a top score of 32. Now, is that good? No. So this is the first real questionable talking point. Did Alec Athanaze have a good series? No. Did Alec Athanaze get some starts? Yes. Was he let down through poor shots of his own? Yes, certainly in the first ODI and the second one. Today he ran out of partners, I'd like to think. The 32 was relatively composed. The question I put to people in the chat, and for those who watch this on the replay, particularly the UK or European audience who are all asleep, is I think Alec Athanaze is in the wrong place. You have a youngster who's pretty much on debut, right? 25, 24 years old, Alec is, and you're putting him first drop when he's got no international experience, and you're putting him first drop. It don't make no sense to me. That's like when we debuted Kurt McKenzie and said, yeah, Kurt, you're going first drop in Test cricket against India. You know my man's coming under scrutiny. Same thing for Alec. Coming under scrutiny, and you're asking him to be the buttress in an innings and build along. Come on, man. Dunce and Bossy. So I feel sorry for Alec because I don't think he should be put in that position. I don't think he's I don't think he should be a number 3 in this ODI side, or if he should, not now. I think they had the option of putting Casey Carty there. Casey Carty has more ODI experience than Alec Athanaze. I don't understand why you would have Athanaze 3 and Carty at 6. It don't make no sense. Obviously, Pooran was missing, but I just don't understand. And that's why, by the way, for those who are listening to Bish on comms, that's why Bish was consistently or continually making those points about Hetmeyer and Pooran and saying that they need to take more responsibility. And he's 100% correct. You have obviously Pooran wasn't there, but you have the 3 most senior batters in the West Indies ODI setup are Shai Hope, Nicholas Pooran, and Hetmeyer. Even with Hetmeyer missing all of the last 3 years, whatever it is he's been doing, he's still one of the most senior batters in the side. And you put Alec there. And I know, here's the joke. Here's what people are going to say. Oh, but Hetty's just come back. He's only just come back to ODI cricket. We didn't know what condition and shape he was going to be in. Well, I'll tell you what shape he was in. He had a long belly on him. That's what he had. But you mean to say that Hetty must come back 5 with all of his ODI experience, and you put the young buck up at 3? Let me drink my water, man. Today was Hetty's 50th ODI. 50th. And you have the young buck with 3 ODIs batting at number 3. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. Because it don't make no sense. Anyways, it is what it is. So that was my query around Athanaze. We'll see what they choose to do with him going forward. Our next ODI engagement is Afghanistan away. I suspect that some of these senior players, will we see big belly, long belly Hetty in Afghanistan? Probably not. I presume he won't be able to cross the bridge. Will Pooran give up his time to play Afghanistan? Probably not. So who knows? Who knows how this is gonna all figure out by the time we turn up to play Afghanistan, if that series even goes ahead. Next up, Carty was the next highest scorer of runs, 54 runs in 2 innings. Remember, Carty didn't play the first ODI. Second ODI, he was the second highest scorer, 48 not out, which means he ends up with and today he got 6? Yeah, he got 6 today. He ends up with an average of 54. His strike rate was much higher than it usually is, strike rate of 70. played the situation well in the second ODI. Again, same argument that I would have with Athenaeus. They need to work out what is the best position for Carty. In the video I did prior to the start of the ODI series, when I said, "Oh, here's some potential lineup permutations for the West Indies," in every one of the teams I suggested, I said put Carty at 3, and I will continue to argue put Carty at 3. If Pooran and Hetty aren't always going to be around, you have to identify who is the player you're willing to invest in, who you think can play. I don't want to call it an anchor innings, but you think can bat long and everybody else build around. Obviously, they've got Hope at 4 at the moment, right? To me, that's Carty, because you know the strike rate thing is still an issue for him to learn and develop and get better at. So you give him more time to bat. You don't bring him at 6. You don't bring him at 6 when you know he starts so slow. So I think they just need to establish what they're going to do with Carty and the best position for Carty moving forward. But other than that, that, like I say, his innings in the second ODI where he played the situation well, that was good. That was good for Carty, and we look forward to seeing him some more, see if he can develop. Who's next? Carl Mayers. That's a talking point, people. Carl Mayers scored 42 runs in the series, high score of 36, which was in the second ODI. I think it was it a duck? Can't remember what he got in the first one, and then today he got like 6 maybe or 5. Anyways, average of 14. It's a techie one, people. Techie one still. Here's the thing. There will be people both in this live right now and people who watch this on the replay who will say drop Carl Mayers. Clearly, West Indies like that Carl Mayers offers them an option with his swing bowling, up front. They always like to give him the ball up front to see if there is any swing to exploit at the top of the innings, right? They believe that Kyle can fit that role. Is Kyle providing a consistent set of runs at the top of the order in ODI cricket? No. So the question isn't really for me, should Kyle Mayers be dropped? The question for me is, even if you're entertaining Kyle Mayers, and for that matter, Brandon King, holding any kind of drop, who's taking their place, people? Who's taking their place? All of you are going to say, move Hope to open again. Hope has actually been good at number 4, which I don't think a lot of people have actually noticed, right? But even if you moved Hope to open again, so then who's filling Hope's spot in the middle? Obviously, lots of you will say Pooran will come and play. But I'm telling you lot, Pooran's not going to play much ODI cricket over the next 2-3 years because he won't have to, right? So I hear all the move Hope and drop Mayers, and who are the players coming in to replace them? Evan Lewis says he's not available. So who are the people coming in? Johnson Charles, who just ended his ODI career. Shamar Brooks, who just ended his ODI career. So who are these batters that you lot have identified that are going to come in? I'm not saying keep Carl Mayers, I'm not here trying to defend him. I'm just asking the questions. I'm here to answer questions. I'll let you lot get in the comments below or in the live chat and tell me who's going to replace these people. Or the counter argument is you just have to now invest in these guys. You just have to invest in them and accept that, well, boy, you know what? They're going to fail from time to time, but we're investing. The road is long. It will be rocky. We're investing. It's Mayers and King. We're investing. Unless they go through like a real torrid patch. Some will say Mayers is already going for a torrid patch. I think somebody sent me some stats earlier today, and they said that Mayers has only scored 40 or above 3 times in his last 19 ODI innings. But is it about giving him a clear run at the top, and then if it's time to drop, it's time to drop? Supernova 22 says bring in Rutherford. Listen, Shafane Rutherford don't want to play for West Indies. Don't listen to these players will gas you up and say that, I'm open to playing for West Indies. They're gassing. It's all just a bunch of gaffing and gassing. These guys don't want to play for West Indies. So that's Carl Mayers, and I should probably pivot to Brandon King at the exact same time because I think the same issues that I'm raising for Mayers, you could then raise about King, yeah? So King had an even worse series than Mayers, top score of 17. Duck today, and I think it was maybe 12. Was it 12? I can't even remember. I can't remember what he got in the other. I'm going to say 12 or 14 or something like that. So three failures for Brandon King. There seems to be a weakness that he's got about getting caught with the in-swinger. But then again, didn't Brandon score? Was it 2 centuries or was it 1 century in the World Cup qualifiers? I know he was inconsistent in the World Cup qualifiers, but he did get some good scores. So the same argument I just used for Mayers. In fact, so hold on, before I move to King, Ilzam says Mayers is averaging 15 in his last ODI innings. Make of that what you will, people. King had a middling to okay/good World Cup qualifiers, right? I mean, the man scored a century. Yes, some of you are going to say, "Oh, match, it was only against Oman or whichever team." Oh, that's it. Yeah, Supernovas. So King got a century in the warm-up old UAE series. Then he got a century in the qualifiers. So again, I know that some of you will be frustrated with Brandon, but again, do we just say, you know what, it is what it is. We're in it for the long haul. We're building. Yes, Brandon will frustrate from time to time, but the man has scored some centuries. He's shown that he can do it. We just have to invest. And again, I say to you lot, who else is there? Brandon's 28. World Cup's in 2027. He'll be 31, going on 32 by that World Cup. Do we just invest and say it is what it is? Again, get at me in the comments below. People are in the live chat at the moment. You can put your comments in. Where are we? So this is interesting. So ST_15 says we need a better batting coach. So as far as I understand it, the current batting coach is it Stuart Williams? And then Carl Hooper is like an assistant coach, maybe, who understands batting better and doesn't just give stupid solutions like be positive or go hard. Are you sure that's what they're being told? How do you know that's what they're being told? How do you know that these men aren't being told exactly what to do and then they just can't do it anyways? So I don't know about that one still. ST_15. Where are we? So that was King and Mayers. Who am I missing? Here we go. Shimron Hetmeyer. So Shimron Hetmeyer, the prodigal son, returned, and his highest score in the series, he got 11, 4, and 9. 11, 9, and 4. 11, 9, and 4. All of that noise that was made about bring Shimron back, all of that noise that his wife made on Instagram, all of that noise that his supporters in Guyana made, all of that noise that I made, and the man responded with 11, 9, and 4 and turned up with a KFC belly. Let me drink my water. KFC belly, you know. What go? Shimron, what have you been doing, Shimron? What work have you been putting into your game outside of IPL? What? This is international duty, and your belly's looking long, you know. You know when like this is, I don't know if this is specific to Jamaicans. For those of you who are from the different other Caribbean nations as well, you know, like, so when I turned up to Jamaica, this is the first time I've been to Jamaica since the pandemic, right? You know, when you turn up and you see, like, for those of you who are Jamaican, you know, when you turn up and you see like Jamaican relatives, and even if you're actually looking in shape and they look at you and they say, boy, you look fat. That's how they greeted me when I turned up, you know. They said I look fat. These times I was all right, you know. Now I am fat, by the way. See all that hard food I've been eating, boy, I need to get to the gym. So you mean to tell me no one in Shimron's life over the last 3 years or 2 years or however long it's taken him to develop this long belly, no one has said to the man, boy, you look fat. No one said it to him. You look fatty? What? No one ain't said that. No auntie, no uncle, no one in Guyana. Banner, you look fat. No one. Oh my God. Man came to West Indies duty looking big and fat and then scored 11, 9, and 4. Shimron, I told everyone, bring Shimron Hetmeyer back. We can't afford to not have Shimron Hetmeyer in the side. And you responded with this. But you know what, people? Here's the rub, though. Here's the rub. Even with his long belly, Shimon Hetmyer is still better than 99.2% of all of the batters in the region, even with his long belly. So you know what? He still needs to stay in the side. We still need to pick him. We still need to invest in him because it is what it is. It is what it is. He's the only one that can have the professional pride to do something about his strength and conditioning. I don't want to hear any of you in the comments. I don't want to hear anybody in the live right now come with any stupid defense and say, oh, but look at the catches he makes in IPL and this, that. You lot need to understand one simple thing. And I will always back Hetty in the sense of saying his top 3 most talented batters in the region, Nicholas, Puran as well, Shea Hope, all of that, right? All of that, yeah? But fundamentally, this is the question I always ask. I always say to people, right? And this isn't personal about attacking Hetty. And in fact, actually, if this ever gets to Hetty, I actually hope Hetty takes offense. I hope Hetty looks at, watches this video and he says, I was about to swear, and he says, F that Russ. What does that Ras know about anything? He's not even a professional. He's not even a professional cricketer. What does he know? Cool. That's all good, Shimron. You can say all that, right? But this is what I know. This is what I know, yeah? When you, man, and your careers have finished, right? You can tell me all about your big pockets and your IPL numbers and this, that. What did you ever do for West Indies? Because trust me when I say the real cricket heads in the region, that's all we're studying. That's all we're studying, you know. What did you ever do for West Indies? Your pocket's bigger than mine. You're living a life of luxury. But what did you ever do for West Indies? Because right about now, people are looking and scratching their heads saying, but what does my man actually do for West Indies? So Shimron, next time you come play for West Indies, and I pray you do go and play against Afghanistan, I beg you do something. I beg you do something, Shimron, because you got people like me saying you need to play in the side, and then you're producing data that makes me wonder what I'm talking about. But you know what? Shimon Hetmyer is still supposed to stay on the side. Is that enough, people? Is that enough? The haters are going to come for me still. Boy, I said what I said. This is why Caribbean Cricket Podcast can never take off, you know, because I keep it too real. I keep it too real, and then people get in their feelings when I said what I said. So that's Shimon Hetmyer. Who are we missing? Is that all the batters? Oh, Rovman Powell. Rovman Powell. Do you know, actually, before I get to Rovman Powell, so Athena says, apologies to Ravi Rampal on his belly. Do you know what, Athena? This is the thing. Ravi Rampal, he had a big, fat, roti belly. But guess what? Ravi Rampal performed in West Indies colours. Ravi Rampal, let me bring up Ravi Rampal's stats, because this is what I'm talking about, people. Ravi Rampal got excommunicated from West Indies cricket because they said he was too fat, right? I don't know if only if you're like a proper old school West Indies fan will you remember this, that when Ravi Rampal played for West Indies, there was a selector and a president, I can't remember which one, who said that Ravi Rampal couldn't play for West Indies because it was embarrassing to see him running in with his roti belly, and they got rid of him, right? This is Ravi Rampal's ODI career for the West Indies. 92 matches, 117 wickets at 29 apiece. 29 apiece. We would kill for Roti Belly Rampal right now. We would kill for him because my man turned up with his roti belly and performed, and we kicked him out the side. So it's not even about Shimron and his long belly, because if Shimron came in with his long belly and performed, everyone would allow him. Everyone would allow him. But if you come in with a roti belly or whatever it is and you don't perform, man will cuss, yes? Of course man must cuss, because it looks like you're not taking nothing serious. So anyways, big up Ravi Rampal still. Actually, I said something in the Discord group the other day. Do you know how good Ravi Rampal is? 2 years ago, Ravi Rampal turned up at the age of 37. I think it was 37. How old is Ravi now? Ravi must be 40. So 36. Ravi Rampal turned up 2 years ago in CPL and got the most wickets at the age of 36. And by that time now, his belly was even bigger. most wickets at the age of 36, outbowled all of the young youths in CPL, and got called up to our T20 World Cup squad in 2021 as a result. And big up Ravi, because I've always been a fan of Ravi Rampal, right? But how embarrassing is that a man at 36 with a roti belly outbowls all of the young youths in CPL? So when people are talking about standards dropping in West Indies cricket, there's clear examples in front of us. Rakeem Cornwall obviously has his issues, still outbowls everybody in the region. So it's not about. So again, people are thinking, "Oh, Mash, you're just coming for Hetmeyer, just coming for Hetmeyer." No. You know what? The whole West Indies team can have a long belly for all I care, as long as they put performances in. So it is what it is, man. Let's move on. So Rodman Powell played the first ODI. I have no idea how he got back into the side after his World Cup qualifiers. Did he score any runs, or was it a duck? He got 4. Faced 4 balls, nicked off, never seen him again. So it's a weird one with Rovman, because obviously Rovman was top scorer in the last Super 50, which is what got him back into the ODI side, and he just hasn't performed. He's again gone back to his inconsistent self. He averages 21 in ODI cricket after 50 ODIs. I think that's it now. I think the experiment's done. If he stays in the squad, it's because Sammy believes that he can get the best out of him. But the evidence at this moment in time points to Rovman having to hold a drop. And yeah, that might be it for him still. He might just have to focus on T20s or something. Yeah, it's time for Rovman still. Who else? I think that's the batters. Oh, Shepherd. Shepherd was at number 7. It didn't come off for him. He only batted twice, a duck and 8. So, I mean, both times that he batted were in the first and the third ODI when the whole innings was collapsing. So I don't know if you can judge him properly, per se, because obviously he's in the side to do that kind of explosive innings at the back end. But the 2 times he got to bat was when he was having to come in and the score was like 50 for 6, or I can't remember what it was in the first ODI, but something like 70 for 6 or whatever it might be. And in those situations, I don't believe that Romario has the skill set necessarily to counterattack and rebuild an innings, because he's not in the side for that particular skill set. It may be that because of how weak our batting is in general, that Romario now needs to work on that aspect of his game, and realize that when you bat in a team like the West Indies, you can't just have that one skill set of, right, I'm here to smash 40 from 25 and add some impetus at the back end. Well, bro, at least 6 times out of 10, when you come into bat Romario, our innings is going to, did I say 6? 8 times out of 10, when you come into bat Romario, our innings is going to be in a perilous situation. So you are going to have to develop another aspect to your game, and no matter what your role is, you're going to have to accept that you're going to have to rebuild the innings quite a lot as well. Rodwin's right to say, Rodwin's right to say that the problem is Romario's bowling and it's coming into bat quick time. It's similar to Shea. Shea is, people are saying move Shea from number 4, but Shea might as well be opening anyways, because he's wicket keeping for 50 overs and then coming into bat after 3 overs anyway. So again, this is my point. It won't be enough to just say a man is in the side to be a finisher, or a man is in the side to add quick runs, because every single player in that West Indies lineup has to accept that more often than not, when they come into bat, there's no platform for them, and they're going to have to rebuild and reconstruct an innings, and they need to have that in their mindset. You're not going to get, this ain't Australia, this ain't England, this ain't India, this basically ain't anybody else. You're not, more often than not, you will not get you will not be walking in to a perfect situation to express yourself properly and play your natural game. Are you hearing me? Everyone needs to get that into their head. So yeah, Romario. I'm not judging anybody else with the bat. Let's go to the ball. So with the ball, pick of the bowlers, needless to say, Gudakesh Motie, 6 wickets at 17 apiece. Carried on the form he showed in Zimbabwe. less so in South Africa. You have to remember, people, that in South Africa he picked up that injury, but Multi showed enough for us to. Where are we? Sorry. Multi showed enough for us to believe that he is the go-to attacking left arm spinner. Akil Hussein needs to be careful, because if Multi carries on this form, how long before we say that Multi should be an all-format player and then replace Akil in the T20 side? So Akil now needs to up his game, but Multi was excellent. I think that is now a lock-in position. Romario was good with the ball as well. He took 5 wickets at 23 apiece, and he had the second best. I'd say in terms of properly bowling, he had the second best economy in the side. So give Romario Shepherd his due. He showed up with the ball in this series. So 5 wickets at 23 apiece, economy of 5.89. So as much as I say Romario needs to add another aspect with the bat, he showed up with the ball. Okay, so he did half of his job. So again, I think we persist with Romario Shepherd going forward. Alzari Joseph was, well, I warned people. Alzari Joseph, 3 wickets at 37, economy 6.58. I warned people about this. I said after the test series against India, I said it after the World Cup qualifiers, that Alzari looks like his head is frazzled. He looks like his pace is down. He looks like he's been overworked. And I questioned why we picked him in the ODI side. Obviously I know why, but I questioned if that was the best thing for Alzari. We've also picked Alzari in the T20 side. And then Alzari will play the CPL. So when Alzari breaks down, I hope we know why he broke down. I hope we don't act surprised when Alzari breaks down. It's like, oh, how did that happen? I'll say it again. We have to be very, very careful about the workload we are giving Alzari Joseph. He clearly, to me, needs a break from cricket for a bit to just rehabilitate and find his edge and mojo again. So Alzari, 3 wickets at 37. Yannick Correa, 3 wickets at 39. Economy 6.55. Now, again, some of you will say that's not good enough. We have to. Okay. I believe that a leg spinner is a must. And I've got no issue right now with them investing in Yannick. I think if Yannick had been at the World Cup qualifiers, that would have been very useful for the West Indies ODI side. I think Yannick's leg spin bowling has got better. I think he is improving with the leg spin bowling, and I've got no issue with them saying, right, we're investing in Yannick going forward, which is why I'm surprised he's not in the T20 side. As ever with a leg spinner, you've got to trust them. I think they're starting to show some faith and trust in Yannick, and long may that continue for now. So again, I think you invest. I know that some people have raised questions about but the World Cup's in 2027. Yannick will be 34, 35 by then, but he's a leg spinner. How old was Badri when we won the T20 World Cup in 2016? Let me go look, in fact. And I'm not saying that Yannick Correa is as good as Samuel Badri. That's not my point in the slightest. I'm more making a point about age. So 2016, Badri's 42 at the moment. Yeah, so Badri would have been about 34, 35 when we won the T20 World Cup in 2016. So I'm not buying the age thing. If a leg spinner is good enough, 34, 35 is no age whatsoever. So I don't think that really comes into the question with Yannick. Jaden Seals, he was licked down today. He took 2 wickets at 62, which sounds dreadful. Economy 6.88. But until today's match where he bowled 8 overs, what was it? None for 90 something. Today he bowled 8 overs, none for 75, and got completely taken apart. But actually, I thought in the first 2 ODIs, I thought it was all right. So, and again, of course, Jaden Seals is young, he's star boy, etc. He's just coming back off a massive injury layoff. So I think again, we just keep working with Jaden. Once Jaden is fit enough to return to the test side, then of course we have to think about, okay, how are we going to manage Jaden and so on and so forth. But right about now, in this kind of ODI reset, Jaden's a no-brainer. You continue investing in him. I don't think anybody will disagree with that. Dominic Drake's played the first game, 4 overs, none for 19, economy 4.75, and then we never saw him again. Should he have played another? Maybe, maybe not. But again, I'd keep Dominic Drake's in and around the squad. Kyle Mayers, 10 overs, none for 49, economy 4.9. I know that Ganga or Badri, one of them today, was saying they don't agree with this tactic of bowling Kyle Mayers up front. But when you actually look at his kind of the statistical returns, he bowled 10 overs across the 3 games. So generally speaking, that would have been either 4 overs up front, 3 overs up front, or whatever it might be across the games, right? And only went for 49 runs. Now, the issue that I'm hearing, and I accept, is, yeah, but he's not taking any wickets. I hear that. Therefore, what people need to weigh up is the fact that no one's been able to attack him and take him apart a positive, or does the lack of wickets mean it's a negative? That's for you lot to decide in the comments below and in the live chat. But I get it. I get why they persist with Kyle, because they want to look for swing. No one's been able to take him apart, and he's kept the economy down. So, but ideally, you want a wicket-taking option in the opening 10 overs. So I also hear the criticism. But again, that also links in with the fact of, are we going to invest in Kyle going forward? And yeah, that's it. That was it. The only other talking point really about the ODI series was Shane Thomas didn't play. And for those of you who have been watching our videos, you may remember that in one of the recent videos this week, I can't remember which one, or last week, I said that it had been brought to my attention behind the scenes that that it was deemed that O'Shane was not ready for international cricket yet, and didn't necessarily have the capacity to be thrust in against India and bowl, or at least be expected to bowl a minimum of 8 overs. And lots of you said, as Santoki said, so why is he being picked then? Boy, it is what it is. I don't know what you lot want me to say. I think what they should have done, and I said it at the time, is you call O'Shane Thomas up and you say to him, come to camp with the ODI squad, T20 squad, but you call somebody else up in the actual squad who you genuinely want to play, or who is genuinely ready to play. So basically, you called man into a 15-man squad, and he was never ready to play anyway. Let me not talk on it. Let me just leave that one alone, because whatever in it. So 2-1 series defeat. Sorry, there was some super chats. My apologies, people. Let me come to now. So Gio says, big up Multi. Thank you, Gio, by the way, for the super chat. Big up Multi. Lack of professionalism in this. There was a lack of professionalism in this series from everybody else. Yep, I hear that. Is it lack of professionalism, though, Gio, or is it lack of talent? Or is talent to open a state of words there? Is it lack of professionalism? Maybe it is lack of professionalism. Shai Hope takes his craft seriously. Can we say hand on heart that all of the remaining 10 players that play alongside Shai Hope take their game as seriously as Shai Hope? And if we're calling Shai Hope an example of like extreme professionalism, as in good, then can we say that everybody is meeting those standards? I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes, but I get why people would question it. Adrian, thank you for the super chat. Adrian 9000. Adrian says Hetty will soon post that he misses his wife on Instagram. I'm worried. I will admit that I'm worried. I like I say, I will still maintain that Hetty should be in the side, and that we have to invest in him, and we've got to continue to believe in him. Now he says he's back. But I am worried that going forward, we could see a situation where it's just that Hetty turned up for India and we don't see him again until the World Cup or whatever it might be. So watch this space carefully. Let's see how much West Indies cricket that Hetty is actually going to commit himself to. Ronald Honda hasn't got a comment, but he has given a super chat. Is that yen? What currency is that? Is that yen? But thank you very much for the super chat, Ronald. Much appreciated for the support. So yeah, people, let me wind this one down. Let me see if there's any last comments. Supernova says, I believe in O'Shane. Watch him in the T20s. I do think O'Shane should play in the T20 game. Surely he's got to play. He's only got to bowl 4 overs. So surely they've got to give him at least one game. You'd like to believe that there's 5 T20s. O'Shane is in the T20 squad. If there are 5 T20s, surely he must play one. Surely at least one. But we'll see. Dane says O'Shane was picked as a practice bowler. Maybe he was practicing on getting his fitness up. A net bowler. A very, very weird set of circumstances that. Paul says that Akil only got in ahead of Multi because Pollard pushed him in as captain. Yeah, but Pollard's not there anymore. So I get that. I get if you're using that argument initially, but then you also have to be consistent. Akil Hussain is a good T20 bowler, and someone said a point to me the other day. Can't remember if it was in the Discord group or if it was someone else in the I don't know who or what. Akil Hussain can be at the moment in T20 cricket. International T20 cricket is comfortable bowling in lots of different scenarios because of his experience at the international level over the last 2-3 years. And maybe it's that level of experience that has given Akil the nod over Multi. And also they might want to be managing Multi as well. Remember, Multi's only just come back from injury. So it could also be a case of managing Multi's workload. Supernova says Hetty's not going to show up just for India and then disappear again. He's done it before. So we shall see. I hope he's here for the long haul, but I'll believe it when I see it. Michael Keynes says we need to look at Cottrell as our new ball option. So I spoke Desmond Haynes at the press conference said, oh, you're talking about in ODI cricket. So I was about to say T20s. Yeah, but then clearly they've identified Dominic Drakes as the left arm option. So if Cottrell comes, they're not going to pick Cottrell and Drakes. So are you willing to drop Drakes for Cottrell? They've dropped Cottrell from the T20 squad. So I don't know. Does that mean that Cottrell's career is done out here? Or who knows, man? Who knows? But certainly when we talk about bowling in a power play and being a wicket-taking option, then there's few better than Cottrell in the region, you would think. But it looks like they want to invest in Dominic Drakes going forward. I think if they're going to invest in Dominic Drakes going forward, cool. I need to see Dominic Drakes up the pace a little bit. I think he needs to up the pace to become a bit more threatening. But I like the shape that he has on the ball and all of that. But I think he needs a bit more pace. Athena says one should be fit before being named to the squad. The squad is not there to make you fit. I think this might be the last comment that I make, unless another comment comes just before I end this. That's a really good point from Athena. But someone said in the Discord today that's really interesting, right? When we used to have, or if we probably still do, but when the fitness test was like well known about in the region and everyone used to cuss about the fitness test, right? When we had fitness tests, players would come and fail the fitness test, right? Now players are getting into the squad. Clearly, I'm looking at someone like Hetmeyer, clearly couldn't have passed any fitness test to the point where you're assuming they didn't take a fitness test. So what is it, people? Do we have a fitness test or don't we have a fitness test? Because clearly Hetmeyer got a bly, right? So I don't even know what the state of play is now about fitness tests in the region. So Tet Buddha says Joseph needs a partner in crime. Yep, that's why they've picked in the T20s. They've picked O'Shane, Dean Smith as the quicks who can go over 90 miles an hour. Desmond Haynes says that the long-term plan is to get O'Shane fit enough to play Test cricket. Boy, I don't know how long that long-term plan is, but let's see how O'Shane goes, you know. Last comment. Yeah. Ash says, in the press conference, it sounded like Haynes described Kevin Sinclair as a batter that needs work. Yep. So Haynes is adamant that Kevin Sinclair is good enough to be a batting all-rounder. I would love to know I'm going to get someone that I know in Guyana to ask the question, what Kevin Sinclair thinks he is. I know why they think that. And Kevin put up a lot of good scores for Guyana in the recent first-class season. So I know why they're thinking this. But at this moment in time, if it was up to me, I would personally like them to focus on building Kevin up as an off spinner first and foremost. I think we love this kind of bits and pieces thing where we say that a player can do a bit of this and a bit of that. I think we need to focus on specialists. I think Kevin's batting should be seen as a bonus, and for now, his primary suit should be seen as the off-spin bowling. But of course, the person whose job Kevin Sinclair is coming for is Roston Chase. So let's see how Kevin Sinclair's career develops over the next year and a half or so. Listen, people, that's gone much longer than I expected it to. I thought this was only going to be 20 minutes. But thank you as usual to everyone who's come in the live, given the comments, etc. For those of you who are watching on the repeat, comment below. Ticker tapes below you where you can find Carib Cricket, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just type in Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Website www.caribbeancricketpodcast.com. And if you want to become a patron to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, head to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. Enjoy the rest of Emancipation Day for those of you who are in the Caribbean or in the diaspora around the world who are celebrating Emancipation Day. Enjoy the rest of that. And big up yourselves, everyone, for everyone who came into the live. Like I say, the next show that I do, I should be back in the UK by the time I record that one. And of course, it will be the start of the 5-game T20 series. But I'll be Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you and good night.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rule seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.